Hi everyone, thank you for joining. Welcome to the Bardi Lifestyles podcast, and today we are going to be talking about the Bardi Fashion. My name is Iris Fernandez, and I have Lucho's Bardi here, who is the CEO of the Bardi Fashion. So I just want to go back a little bit to how we met. We actually met through my sister. My sister put us in touch in the beginning of this year, 2020, in January. And then from there, we've been on this journey now for 3 months. And I'm gonna be interviewing Luchos about the process, about his journey thus far. So let's get on with it.
Absolutely.
All right. So when did you? First of all, you had a very interesting career choices and background. You went from being in the flower department for several years, and then you took on the stock trading for a couple of years, and that went really well. And then now you're working on your clothing line, which is men's fashion clothing line. Now, when did you first realize you wanted to pursue a career as a fashion designer?
To be honest with you, in February of 2018, I flew to Milan, and I went to Fashion Week in Milan, and it was eye-opening. I just loved it. You know what I mean? You know, like. It's like you seeing people on the catwalk and like learning, you know, what makes a nice piece, and you know, and what I like, and it was really interesting for me, and that's kind of when I started like thinking about doing it. After I was in Europe in 2018, I have a beach house in El Salvador. I was going to try to do something in Central America, but it was next to impossible, you know, to find, distributors and importing, exporting in El Salvador. It's a mess. So, you know, so it's, you know, and then just watching, I watched Mark Jacobs' masterclass, which, you know, that inspired me as well. And that's kind of where everything has started. And like now, for the past 6 or 7 months, I've done courses online on in fashion, you know, pattern making and learning about color patterns, what goes well with what, learning how to drape, you know, like all those things. So.
Okay. So at what age did you start caring about fashion? You seem really passionate about, you know, the fashion industry. At what age do you think you started caring about fashion?
You know what? Honestly, since I was in grade 6. Like
very young age.
Yeah. Back then, the big brands that I was into were Italian brands called Costello, Mattore. Replay's still around. They're all Italian brands. I remember my parents would give me $200 for the school year for clothes.
Oh wow!
And they would expect me to come home with like 5 jeans, 5 shirts. And at the time, they used to sell like these combos at these stores that sold Italian clothing, and you get like a belt, like 1 or 2 t-shirts and a pair of jeans for like 130, 140 bucks. Which back then, this is like when I was in grade, oh shit, what was this, like probably 95 or something like that?
Yeah.
So, and you know, I always really cared about, you know, like fashion. I always cared. Even my mom, like, you know, she always taught us, like, we didn't have much money growing up, but she's like, you know, like, with what you always try to look presentable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my mom was always really pushing us, like, you know, to dress well. It might not, you know, to take care of your appearance.
Yeah. Because it is also a reflection of who you are.
Exactly.
That's really cool. So tell me about the story behind your brand, which is Bardi Fashion. Kind of how that branding
like the name or the, like what do you?
The brand. So tell me about the story. Tell your viewers about the story of your brand, Bardi.
Well, Bardi is the name of my great grandfather who comes from Italy in an actual city called Bardi, which is fairly close to Florence. It's in that region.
Okay.
So that's where my family originated from. And then after World War II, when Italy was in complete shambles, my great-grandfather left Italy and moved to El Salvador because a lot of Italians left to Central and South America. And can you imagine moving from Italy to El Salvador? You know, like think about like
the culture is probably different too, right?
Yeah. But just imagine like people like no one. I don't think many people would move from Italy to El Salvador in this day and age. You know what I mean? But you know what? So yeah, my great grandfather moved to El Salvador, and then somehow down the line there's a name change to Gonzalez, and now I'm going to, in honor of my great grandfather and my ancestry, I'm legally changing my name, my last name is Bardi.
That's really cool. That's awesome. So you're kind of going back to the roots.
Yes.
So describe your clothing line. You mentioned that this Bardi is a man's fashion line. So tell us a little bit about that line.
Well, I've been my goal is to create a men's hybrid fashion line that it looks good. It's a hybrid. Like it looks good, it's super comfortable, but you can like wear it, you know, to a nice dinner date. You know what I mean? Like, I wanna my three brand colors are royal blue, different shades of gray, and white.
Okay.
And I want to create something that, you know, I want to be different. I want to like I'm wearing bell bottoms right now that we made, you know what I mean? And I think
which looks great on you, by the way.
Thank you. Like I don't want to be a sheep. Like I don't. Even if I'm the only one in Calgary wearing these right now, I don't give a shit. Like I don't want to be like a copycat of everybody else, and that's what I hate about fashion right now. That like everyone was trying to copy, you know, and but my brand, more importantly, I want it to mean that that I believe in diversity. I've dealt with a lot of racism in my life, and you know, somehow in my designs and talking about it, I want when people wear my when people wear my stuff, that, you know, they're proud. Like I'm Spanish and Italian, but like, and I'm super proud of what I am. But I want others, like if you're Asian, if you're Black, if you're East Indian, you know, like it's about, if you're gonna wear my brand, it's about you're proud of who you are. I want to create an ideology that men can be strong and you know and but at the same time they could be, you know, like, you know, how would I say it, like
confident.
be strong, confident, but also sensitive in a way, you know what I mean? And care about how they dress.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sensible about fashion.
Yeah, and not try to be everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to create something fresh. I want to create something new. I want to create different designs. I want to. First of all, when I make something, I want to be happy with it. I'm not thinking about selling it right now. If I'm happy with it, my goal's reached. But then, if other people like it as well, then I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna do well.
That's awesome. That's really great. I think that kind of answers my next question, which is, you know, how do you want men to feel when wearing your clothes? Which is, like you mentioned, you want your clothes to speak to them as well.
Yeah,
right?
I want them to feel proud. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, like that they're wearing a Bardi pants or a Bardi shirt, and you know they believe in equality. They're not racist. They believe in not judging other people. Gentlemen, that's the word I was looking for before. That
Okay.
you guys are gentlemen.
Yeah.
Like I think as a hybrid man, you want to be a gentleman, you know, but you also want to be, you know, strong, and you know, if you have a girlfriend, you want to protect her as well. You know, and I want, you know, when other people see, you know, people wearing a Bardi, you know, something, I want them to recognize the values that I have.
Yeah. That's really great, actually. I mean, I feel like that is something that a lot of men look to and can aspire to. So I'm just gonna move on to a little bit on the social aspect of it. And what role do you think social media plays in fashion today?
It's huge. The problem that I find with social media is that with these Instagram models and
Influencers,
that just get paid.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit what they're selling, right? Like
Yeah.
they just you know, hey, you know, buy this, whatever, and I think that now with e-commerce, I think Shopify just became one of the highest value stock in Canada right now. Like e-commerce is the way to go, and right now is a great time to be an aspiring designer because there's so many tools, you know, at our disposal with internet,
Absolutely.
programs, like, you know, you can create a small studio for not that much money.
Yeah.
And just be creative. You know what I mean? Like, and do something. When you're gonna do something, do it with purpose. You know. But you know, like I said, like in a way, I think social media is amazing, but at the same time, it's you know, it's a little bit, I guess.
It's a little bit dicey, right? Because I feel like then you get it's a cheap and easy advertising. So you really have to kind of take advantage of what is most beneficial, most useful for your brand.
I just, you know, like celebrities that, you know, they don't actually, that have their own clothing line, stuff like that. Like most of them probably don't design their own stuff. They're just licensing out their name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, like, but, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you one thing about me. I've never been a follower. I've always dressed the same way. You know what I mean? Like I remember, my style has changed over the years, but I remember like in high school, my idol was Ricky Martin. And he always used to wear like black button-up shirts, like, and you know, I would wear button-up shirts all the time to parties and stuff like that. Most of my buddies wearing t-shirts, whatever. Like I always like, you know, really cared about how I dressed, and I was never into the, you know, baggy clothes and all that stuff. But you know, I've lived through the '90s, the style in the '90s, and then obviously, you know, up to now, and I've seen how much has changed and stuff like that. And you know what? I think I respect '90s style a lot more because it was different. People try different things. You know what I mean? Like now with H&M and you know and Zara and you know and the Gap and stuff like that, it's just like, man, like, where's the originality? You know, where's something fresh and dope? Yes, your clothes fucking cost fucking $15. You know that you're selling it for, but it's just plain or it's just weird. I don't like it. And that's why, honestly, that's one of the reasons I want to create something new, because I don't like what's out there, you know. And I bought really expensive clothes like Holt Renfrew. I don't want to get into it much deeper, but
no, that's really good to kind of set a tone for the next generation to come, right? So, like, if you want to come out with something completely different and inspiring, I think right now is the best time to do that. You know. So who is your favorite fashion inspiration or icon and why?
Ooh, I'd say I have like 3 or 4. I think before it used to be David Beckham. He always got to have great style. Who else? Lenny Kravitz. I love Lenny Kravitz style, man. He's dope. Yeah, that guy. I love his style, man.
Yeah.
Lenny Kravitz is huge. Prince. You know how different he dressed and stuff like that. You know, and he was who he is, man. And he's so dope. You know, there's something so dope about that.
And his style stood out. Right?
Yeah.
So I can understand why these people, these icons, are the people you look up to, because you know you might not create something similar, but it's sort of carrying on that highest quality, highest caliber, right? Like to be different.
Yeah, I think I really like Enrique Iglesias style.
Yeah,
He's got good style.
Yeah.
Females, I love Shakira style. That girl can dress.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
and Cristiano, sorry, one more. Cristiano Ronaldo's got good style too.
Okay.
You know this?
Soccer player?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Good
Oh
style.
yeah. Totally.
What team do you
Every
play for?
girl loves him.
What team do you play for?
Don't. No, I don't keep up with soccer.
Oh, good.
So what is the best piece of business advice you've ever been given, and do you follow it?
You know what? Something that sticks out right now is in 2015 I was in Medellin, Colombia, and I went and did the Pablo Escobar tour, and I was fortunate that at one of his houses, his brother, who's still alive, Roberto Escobar, was there, and he was a really nice guy. And he sat down, and we sat down, had a coffee together, and this is like 2015, like this is like in my middle of a big backpacking trip, but like in the back of my head, I'd always wanted to do something. I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, like, can you give me any business advice whatsoever? Like I wasn't like, hey, show me how to sell coke or anything like that. No.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this, like, obviously they were very successul, right? And he was the accountant, so he's more like the business side of things.
Right.
And he told me, he's like, you know what, man? He's like, whatever you do, just which path you ever want to follow, fucking be 180% obsessed with it and passionate about it. Because if you're just following it for the money, whatever, money, you know, that's money after a while, you know, you get used to having money.
Yeah.
And then he said, and if you lose the passion for it, then get out of it. And yes, I follow that very much, because I, you know, was very fortunate to work on multiple fire departments and paramedic services, and when I completely lost the passion for it, I'm like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to do something else. And then I got into stocks, and I was trading almost full time for about 5 years of stock trading. And then I made my money, and you know, and then I realized kind of how dirty the industry is. I have money. I don't want to be doing that at this point in my life. Yeah. And so I told myself this past spring, I sold out my last stock. I'll tell you one thing. This isn't fashion related, but I don't think there's too many people in this world that could say that. That the first stock that they ever bought was Apple at $9.50 a share in 2006, and the last stock that I sold was Tesla on a short. So I bet against it, and I took it from $921 and sold out at $680 or something like that. You know, so you know, but I'm proud of that, and I'm going to try to take the same work ethic that I've always had in whatever I do into this new, you know, chapter of my life, which is fashion.
Yeah, that's really cool. So follow where the passion leads you.
Yes, but educate yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm still educating myself, but I love learning. Like what were we talking about earlier? That like you know, your creative side is your right side of the brain.
Yeah.
You know, and this is, and like I've always worked in as a paramedic, personal trainer. I've worked in restaurants. I've worked in stocks. I've worked in firefighting, blah blah.
Yeah.
So they're either physical jobs or they were very analytical jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now that I'm, you know, kind of learning about this other side of my brain,
Yeah.
creative side that I have, it's for me, it's like I feel like rejuvenated.
Yeah.
You know,
It's probably quite nurturing too. It's kind of you're exploring this side, this other side of you.
Yeah.
That's really great. So you sound like someone who is easily inspired, and you kind of take inspiration from wherever you go. So on that note, what music or movie, books, or even magazines, or even podcasts, what that gets you ready to sketch or design, or just even brainstorm? What gets you? What's the fuel?
You know what? And you've heard of this many times when you're working here with me.
Yeah.
I love those like Shakira, like those remixes.
Yes,
You know,
he does
like,
love Shakira.
Yeah, where she like,
A
oh my
little too
god.
much, just.
Probably.
But hey,
But you know what? It's because it's like it's my music. I
Yeah.
love Spanish music,
Yeah.
and like her passion and how she dances. I or I listen to sometimes Enrique Iglesias like
Yeah.
stuff like I like upbeat Latin music because that's what I am. That's
Yeah.
and like I want to have my own style.
Yeah.
I want to have my style is gonna be a little bit different because I want to have kind of like I want to be look a little bit like how do I say it? Like I want to have my own style like with my Spanish kind of
Roots. Yeah, you're while you're working through this process, as you work through your journey, you're also kind of living, breathing it, right?
Yes.
So because it's sort of it's in you. You have that Spanish blood. You have the Italian blood. So yeah, it totally makes sense that you're kind of drawing in inspiration from those people, from that type of music.
Yeah, like I see, I see like guys wearing, downtown, whatever, the business suits. I'm like, man, like that is so boring. He's just wearing a plain black suit and a tie, and it's like,
Yeah.
come on, man, like you look like a fucking uniform. Like,
Yeah.
I think what you wear should be an expression. You should be able to express yourself through fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, what is your favorite place to shop or places to shop anywhere in the world, and why?
You know what? I really like Harry Singer.
Okay.
You know who that is?
Yeah. It reminds me of the sewing machine. But yes, Harry Rosen, you mean? Is it Harry? Are you sure it's not Harry Rosen?
Yes. Sorry,
Okay, okay.
Harry Rosen. Yes.
Okay.
I really like Harry Rosen. The customer service, the customer service there is fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the customer service is really good. People there help you out, and it's I've purchased quite a bit of clothes from there, and I didn't purchase it just to purchase, but I really in the last year or so I spent a lot of money buying high-end clothes to really feel the fabric and really test the material and like really is this I bought a pair of like Armani shorts for $300.
Wow.
And I, and just one of the zippers after like less than a year broke down.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Wow.
But they,
So you saw the problem there, right? That's kind of one of the good thing about designers is that you see a problem and you want to create a solution. How can you make it better? So.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think that from my experience, that a lot of the really high-end brands are way overpriced, and I think people just pay for the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember I went into this one store in a just a black T-shirt, baggy T-shirt, but it had Versace in gold. That just Versace. That written Versace. And I felt the material wasn't that soft. You know what I mean? And I think it was made in Turkey. It was like $350.
Oh wow.
So, you know, I don't see the value there.
Yeah.
At
if
all.
the price doesn't match the value, then
Just because Versace.
right.
Like,
yeah. Which is a lot of the brands are. So I want us to end this interview with a couple more questions, which is, what have you learned so far? Now I know we're still in the beginning phases of your fashion journey, and I feel like working alongside you, I feel like we've worked on a lot and we've learned a lot as well. And so, in your own opinion, what have you learned so far in your journey as a fashion designer? What works and what doesn't?
Well, I would say that finding a distributor that has good quality fabrics, and not only the fabrics but also the accessories. You know, like to find like a good zipper. Like once stores start opening up, I'm gonna try to find better stores in Calgary. But I mean, the shit in fabric land, like their fabrics are shit. Like their zippers are shit. The nylon that they sell for the nylon they sell for the sewing machines is the thread it's garbage. So finding good quality products. I don't want to make shit. I don't want to fucking have shit fall apart. I never want that in my products. So trying to find that stuff in Calgary, Alberta is very difficult.
Especially now, right? It makes it even more challenging that you're limited with, you know, resources. Where can you go? And one thing that people may not know with starting out your fashion line is really the research part of it, right? Like you said, finding out the right fabric that is the highest of quality, and then a factory that can make it. You know, so yeah,
I think that's been definitely the biggest challenge too, and that's why. And so when I started realizing that, and then this whole virus thing started, I just literally started tearing apart my own personal wardrobe. I probably tore apart, I don't know, $80,000 worth of my own belongings.
That's crazy.
You know, and sometimes it was just like a zipper, like So, but I know when I put that together, that is going to be good quality. You know what I mean? So, what else? Was there a question?
What works and what doesn't? The things that, were there things that you learned that you wish you learned earlier?
Well, I think it's a whole learning process, right? I just, you know, I was in back and forth for a while to, you know, should I go to fashion school?
Right.
You know what I mean? And if I was going to concentrate on female fashion, I was going to. But, you know, you and I kind of talked about that, and I think I should stick to male fashion because that's what I know already.
Right,
and
exactly.
I know, honestly, it would just take me way too long to learn how to become really, really good at female fashion, because there's people that have been going to school for way more longer than me, and they know what they're doing. I know men's fashion, and I know what I want to do.
And why not start there, right? Like start with something that you know in your heart, you know that you have, you know, years of knowledge. So
I think my two products I'm going to focus on is, my first is pants. and eventually I want to try to make a prototype of a pair of pants that that has an ass lift.
Oh yes, yeah.
So yes, I want to create a pants that are comfortable, that look dope, and also raise the ass. You know what I mean? Because you know, guys,
that one future that
the one
is the ass race.
The ass race. Because you know what? And I have been very, very guilty of this. Now I do a lot more squats than I used to, but like, guys don't work out their legs as much as they should, you know?
Yeah, they skip the leg day. It's important, guys. But, you know, not only for women, I think having
hey man, guys like, guys,
ass for men is good.
Guys guys obviously stare at women's asses, you know, so
yeah.
It should be
so do we.
Yeah. And if you can have
guys.
if you can have like a little bit of raise, you know, that's just like it's just kind of a push-up problem for your ass.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, so I want to specialize in get really good at making pants.
Yeah.
Cool designs, you know, my own with my own, you know, styles and whatnot. But eventually, I'd like to start creating double-breasted jackets.
Okay.
Because I think I don't see that enough.
Yeah.
Even like Hugo Boss, like all like the big Armani, so like that, I barely ever see double-breasted. I love double-breasted.
Yeah.
So
and they look good when they're worn right, and I feel like you're right. You don't see it being worn enough, and most of the time you see it on red carpets. You know, only rich and famous get to wear it. Why not make it accessible to the regular guys or people who, you know, just want to look good?
Yeah, but like make it not so like that. Oh, you have to go to a gala or something like that. Make it more for the more versatile for every day.
Yeah.
But something I didn't mention is when I start creating. When I really get going, like my hybrid pants and even my hybrid like double-breasted jacket, I want it to be able to be wrinkle-free because I also want convenience and wrinkle-free, and that doesn't need to dry clean. Because I want to create my brand is going to be for guys that are on the go, you know, businessmen that travel a lot and stuff like that. Because I myself have found that there's a hole in that you know you want to go to the airport, you know, because you got to catch a flight, and then once you get to the other city, you have meetings, blah blah blah. But you know, you don't want to sit in a tight air flight, you know, wearing a suit. You know, it's not going to be comfortable.
Yeah, and then have it all wrinkled up.
And at the same time, you don't want to just show up in sweat, blah blah, because you have to change whatever.
Right.
So I'd like to create something that is classy, you know, it's presentable, but it's also for every day, and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is quite ambitious. So what have you done in the last 4 or 5 months to kind of get you started, get you prepared through this journey?
Well, one of the things I did is I printed off all, I think, 10 successful male fashion designers.
Okay.
So, you know, obviously Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Giorgio Armani, Donatella, Versace, Yves Saint Laurent.
I love that brand.
Dude. You know, I Marc Jacobs. You know, so I just printed off and I just studied them, and I just really wanted to educate myself on the runs of these, you know, and educate myself on, you know, how they started, you know, and I didn't realize that Louis Vuitton's been around since 1854. You know what I mean?
That's a long time.
Yeah, like Hugo Boss has been around for almost 100 years.
Most of these, you know, iconic high luxury brands have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Longer than we thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so I researched, designers that I appreciate and that I have a lot of respect for, and then my father used to be a professor in human ecology at the University of Alberta. He did research for many years, working with clothing and textiles. So he put me in touch with a female researcher, and I went down to the U of A in February, was it? And she kind of explained to me the process of like the types of machines that they have there for testing. Testing like the flammability, like the durability, the shrinkage, the actual strength of the fibers.
Yeah.
And so learning, learning even the difference between a synthetic and a natural fiber.
Learning about fabrics.
Yeah, that's something we learning the difference between woven and knitted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just working with you, I've learned a lot about fabrics than I could ever imagine. Like I feel like and this is like a learning process for both you and I. I think even though we didn't, there may be things that we didn't take from that research, but it's just really good knowledge to know, just background knowledge. I think that's great that you were able to go to U of A, and your dad, has some background that's really cool too.
Yeah, and actually he was here last week, and we were going over some of my, I brought down some Diesel shirts, some Armani shirts, some Hugo Boss shirts, and we checked out the blends, what I mean? And they're all a little bit different, and I think the best ones for me were 95% cotton with 5% lycra, which is that stretchy material.
Yeah.
That for me, that's my favorite. So that's what kind of what I want to find in when I find a good supplier.
Yeah.
For sure, but
what do you envision your fashion line to be?
I would like my fashion line to be a combination of Diesel, Lululemon, and with my own style, personal style.
So you've got the comfort, functionality, and style.
Yes. Yeah, with my 3 brand colors.
Yeah. Which are navy blue, royal blue, and some grays, shades of grays, and a little bit of black and white, right?
No black.
No black, just white.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just right now. These aren't my brand colors. Just what we have to work with for
right
materials.
Now. Yeah.
But yeah, those 3 are going to be my brand colors. And I think those 3 colors will go well together. And I don't think there's another major label that has those 3 brands. Those 3 palettes.
The 3 colors. Yeah. What do you think the 3 colors stand for, especially the royal blue? Is there any meaning behind the color choices?
Absolutely. Royal blue, it's always been my favorite color, and it's also the color that is on the flag of El Salvador.
Oh, that's really cool. I don't think a lot of people know that.
No.
That's great. Yeah. Again, you're pulling your roots. As inspiration.
And you know what? When I was a firefighter paramedic, we wore blue every day, right? But I don't like navy blue.
Okay.
And so, it's kind of to pay a little bit of homage to my past career as well.
Yeah.
And white, I love white. I've always liked white. And I think white, grays, and blues, that royal blue go very nice together. And also white is on both. It's actually on 3 of my flags, like Canada, Italian, and El Salvador.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I picked gray because I am very liberal, and I think I'm very open thinking and free thinking, and I don't believe that there's ever a black and white. I think there's always gray.
Oh, okay.
So,
sort of that neutral.
Yeah.
Neutrality. That's really cool. Sounds like you've put a lot of thought into the color palettes, which is important. So what is your favorite part about being a fashion designer?
Oh man, just coming up with different ideas. sketches. You know, I can see if I see something that inspires me. It could even just be music.
Yeah.
Just music, for some reason, music really inspires me, and then like, you know, it's okay. Well, what can I do like that's different, but like not too out of this world?
Yeah.
I think the actual designing part is very therapeutic for me, and I really enjoy that. And I'm just starting out, you know, and my stuff might not be the greatest right now, but you know, give me a couple years and we'll see where I'm at. And the best thing about being my own boss is, you know, Bardi Fashion House is my own label. It's my own house. It's, you know, like someone like Marc Jacobs, he had to go and work for other house brands before he got his own brand.
Right.
And you know, I don't have to answer to anybody. And you know, and when you get to that level, you have so many people to answer to. You know what I mean? I think, and I'm a very what's the word? I like things done my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I want to be on. Like that's you know why I got.
Right.
Why
you want to be your own boss.
Yes, and I don't want to have to answer to anybody. You know what I mean? And so I love that. I love that I'm so free in what I can do.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think a lot of people would love to be in that position where, you know, they have the freedom to be creative and be their own boss and make money.
Yeah.
So I know we're still in our development phase. Where do you see us going in, say, 6 months to 1 year?
Well, right now, I'm making a lot of prototypes.
Okay.
And then we're gonna work on my website.
Yeah.
And we're gonna post, you know, and I want to, and I've been getting really good feedback from people on social media that they like what I'm putting up and stuff like that. I mean, it's not for everybody, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I can't really see any of my buddies that were that are firefighters, you know, ever wearing fucking bell bottoms, but you know, I just, you know, like that's cool. But the point is to learn, continue learning, but also move forward in the fact that now we know that our niche is going to be pants, and then eventually the double-breasted, more casual jackets. Yeah. But for now, we're going to concentrate on pants. So I've learned a lot about fabric so far. I've learned not only that, but how dyes work, how to use bleach, you know, and so I've been learning quite a bit, and sewing. Now I'm starting to do some sewing, especially hand sewing. I'm still pretty bad at sewing with the machine, but so right now we're going to put together also a collection that we're going to try to get into for some fashion weeks local here in Canada, Western Canada.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes. But my goal is hopefully by Christmas that I could actually have my e-store ready to sell properly. And
sounds good.
And another thing we had talked about before we got into this interview was consignment.
Yeah.
You know, so do you want to explain?
Do you want to? Yeah, that's right. Consignment. We did briefly discuss about the possibility of selling in consignment stores when obviously when.
Do you want to explain to the audience what that is?
Consignment stores. Do you want to take it away?
Consignment stores, there's stores locally in Edmonton and Calgary that want to support local artists, and so what you do is you bring in your garments, your designs, and then say you're selling them for $150 or something for a pair of pants. Then you don't get paid anything up front, but once it's sold, then they'll let you know, and then the consignment store keeps a portion, and then you take the rest.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to start, you've got your online presence, which is the e-commerce, and then that would be the physical side of your store would be to introducing consignment stores, like especially boutiques as well. There's a lot of private boutiques in Calgary, and what's great about them is that you're getting this unique style, not like H&M or Zara. We're all they're all good stores and affordable, but if like
H&M is not a good store.
but what I'm saying is, like, you in boutiques, it's such a niche kind of style, and the price point also is a little bit higher, but it matches with the.
But you're getting custom, stuff.
Yeah.
Custom dresses, custom pants, custom whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like you get where the quality matches up with the cost. And then you get the unique style that you'll never find in a store like Marc Jacobs or Zara, for example, because it's such a niche style, right?
Yeah, and like right now I'm trying to work on a collection that for fashion so I can start applying for fashion shows that I want to I want to do like some like retro stuff, but with modern colors. I mean, like, for example, these bell bottoms, if these were in the 70s, they would have never used this material here. Like, they would have used like flowery, something like that. So, take something old, but make it even just using different patterns, as the accessories, I think can give it a fresh new look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I love fashion in the 70s, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of those trends actually, they make a comeback, but just a little bit more modern.
Yeah.
With a modern twist to it.
Yeah, so that's what I like to do. Like we've gone like the skinny leg route, so like one,
Why not bring back the
bell
bottoms?
Let's go like the opposite way.
Yeah. And they're fun to make too, right?
Yeah.
At least I had fun making them. So Luke shows. We are pretty much at the end of our interview. As my last question to you, why are you confident that you're going to succeed in fashion?
It's a good question. I feel that I'm going to be successful in fashion because when I want something, I become obsessed with it. And just how I became obsessed with stocks, and what I mean by becoming obsessed with it is like, listening to podcasts, all the time, like about that. I used to listen to hours and hours of podcasts about investing in stocks. Now I'm doing that with fashion. And I think you have to really live, breathe it. Whatever you're gonna do, if you're really gonna feel you can be successful, you gotta live, breathe it, and that's all. That should always be on your mind.
Yeah.
And it's always on my mind. I also feel that I'm an extremely hard worker, and when I want something, I become very determined. And but most importantly is because I think I'm going to create a cool, fresh brand that is going to represent something. You know what I mean? I'm not just making a t-shirt company, just putting a logo on it and that's it. I want my brand to have meaning behind it.
Yeah. And
you know what? It's not going to be easy, but I don't give up. I'm like a pit bull. Like I don't give up. Like, and if I fail, I know I'm gonna fail. I know there's gonna be hard times. I know sometimes fashion shows aren't gonna allow me in, but you know what? I'm gonna learn from it and get better and better and better and better. And I've realized that I really want to, whatever I do for the rest of my life, I want it to be something creative.
Yeah.
And I love film. I love screenplay writing, and but it's also very difficult. I love film, and I love writing, I love producing stuff, but you need so many different integral parts to make a good project, right?
Yeah.
And with me as a designer, I could do so much just on my own, and I like that flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'm up like at 4 o'clock in the morning, like blasting Shakira.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm working, I'm learning, I'm doing things on my own, and I'm advancing. I could do things on my own. Like, you know, you help me out with certain things that I can't do. But overall, like, it's like I'm doing this, you know what I mean? I don't need an editor, I don't need a sound guy, I don't need someone to do lights, you know, blah, blah, blah. I rely on myself. And I love that. And I absolutely love having that freedom and that, the last thing is that that's my challenge. Like, that's my life's challenge right now, to succeed in fashion.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna work my ass off to try to be successful at it.
Yeah, that's really great. Those are really good answers. Actually, those are good qualities to have to be successful. And I think a lot of people should take that, you know, apply it, and whatever dreams or passions you might have, apply those values. I think those are really what makes someone successful. So
you know what? If I could make a living wage being a fashion designer, I would take that over making the money I was making in the stock market. Because this is what I'm passionate about. Like, and when you're passionate about something, it's like it doesn't even feel like work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do it because you enjoy it. You know what I mean? And there's so much to learn in fashion, and it's just, you know, like, for me, I feel like it's almost like a rebirth. It's like I'm re-energized, right? My lord, I wouldn't give a fuck if a fire department offered me $300,000 to go back there. I would never do it. I would never, no, because that's that portion.
You found your niche.
That chapter of my life is in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's time to move on.
Yeah, you're working on your new chapter now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really great. Well, that's really great, Luchos. I think you've answered all my questions, and thank you for talking with me and letting in your audience know your process and your journey.
No, thank you very much for interviewing me. I appreciate it. And I just want to say one last thing. I think that it's been a really enjoyable experience, you know, even though it's been, what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
Since I met you.
Since January.
Since January, yeah. So I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure, you know, starting the, you know, following this journey with, you know, with you, because this girl is fucking professional.
Aww.
She's awesome. You know what? I was actually telling my dad this. I'm like, Dad, I'll never, like, because she doesn't drive.
No. Don't tell them that.
And I live about half hour outside of Calgary, and this beautiful woman would get her boyfriend to drive her at like 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays after she had just worked a full 40 hours at her other job, and she would come here and bust her ass alongside me, you know, in starting to build my brand. So,
well, it's been rewarding for me as it's been for you, and I'm excited where this journey will take you.
Thank you.
I think
because you're doing it with me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Team Bardi. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. The end.